Do do do, theme song. Do do do, I'm broke so this is my theme song. Do do do, just imagine this is an awesome theme song. Do do, theme song. Hello, welcome to Left of the Box. Bonjour, bienvenue. I'm Sandy. Okay, so something blew up on Twitter recently, and I wish so badly I had my live streaming up and going just so I could cover the tweets as they happened. Sure, what was happening was entertaining in the purest sense of schadenfreude there is, but when you start peeling back the layers, what was going on speaks to issues I'm passionate about, and this blow up lends itself well to the broader discussion. Issues about mental health, trauma, and self-awareness. Please hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and share this video with others. Twitter, sure. If you can, please become a patron to support my channel or help build my studio by purchasing something off my wish list. Links are in the description box below. For those of you not following politics and Twitter the same way I do, a quick sum up of what happened. Herschel Walker is a former football player, minor celebrity, and a right-wing Republican, not that there's any other kind these days, candidate for the Georgia Senate. Republicans are using him as a token, and Herschel is more than happy to parrot whatever they tell him to. He says abortion should be illegal, no exceptions, claims to be a good Christian, and that a real man sticks around and raises his children. Yeah, I bet you can probably see where this is going. Like a real Republican, turns out he's a major hypocrite, liar, and lacks any principles. Reporting from the Daily Beast says that he paid for an ex-girlfriend's abortion, and they even supplied actual receipts and a get well card with his signature in it. But this video isn't primarily about Herschel. Lots more has come out about him, and you can easily find plenty of information about why he's a horrible person. And he is a horrible person. I even made a Rebel HQ video about him, linked in the description box below. What is relevant is his history of violence, both admitted and accused. He threatened people with death, including former partners. Herschel has been diagnosed with DID and most likely has CTE. Those conditions do not excuse his behavior. He's a queer-phobic right-wing misogynist, and the Republicans are exploiting his mental health and his lack of ability to think critically to get what they want. After the report from the Daily Beast came out, his son, Christian Walker, reached a breaking point and tweeted, "Every family member of Herschel Walker asked him not to run for office because we all knew some of his past. Every single one. He decided to give us the middle finger and air out all of his dirty laundry in public, while simultaneously lying about it. I'm done." He then later tweeted, "I know my mom and I would really appreciate if my father, Herschel Walker, stopped lying and making a mockery of us. You're not a family man when you left us to bang a bunch of women, threatened to kill us, and had us move over 6 times in 6 months running from your violence. I don't care about someone who has a bad past and takes accountability, but how dare you lie and act as though you're some moral Christian upright man? You've lived a life of destroying other people's lives. How dare you?" Christian Walker. I also have a video about him on Rebel HQ, and it's also linked below. He uses the platform his wealth and privilege gave him to insult others for the sake of entertainment and tear people down based on their identity, appearance, or economic status. He endorses right-wing talking points while deluding himself that he's part of their club. And he's simply a horrible person.
Honey bun, why do you need a month to celebrate who you sleep with? Newsflash, nobody cares. You have all your rights, now shut up. You take a Pride Month out to run around the streets with no clothes on and hook up in public, and then you want to run around crying, "Oh, I'm so oppressed, no one likes me." Well, stop pushing it in everybody's face. No one cares. But the truth of the matter is, you want everyone to care because you need attention. Get over your insecurities and leave everyone alone. Oh, and by the way, pride is a sin. In order to get an abortion, you do have to get banged. So all of the blue hair pro-choice protesters don't need to worry much about abortions. Sorry, just had to say that. For everyone saying they're going on a sex strike, were you getting any to begin with, ma'am? Because it doesn't look like it. It looks like you've been in the drive-through. Not in the drive up to his house category. More the I'll take a 10-piece fried chicken. It looks like that's where you've been.
Here's where we get to the heart of the issue. It's okay to feel sorry for Christian in this moment. I have empathy for him. However, what he's been through does not absolve him of the harm he's caused others. Trauma manifests itself differently in different people, but having mental health issues or having lived through trauma doesn't give people a pass to inflict it onto others. Generational abuse has always been a problem. Social media monetizes it, spreads it to a wider audience, and incentivizes people to put it on display instead of seeking the help they need. Christian received a lot of criticism for those tweets that he sent out and a lot of pushback, and he felt it was important to clear the air and get more of his side out, so he posted a couple videos to his Twitter account. And this is the second of the two. He says some interesting things in here that I feel are worth going over for the context of this video.
And just two more things I have to address, and then I'm done with this buffoonery nutjob land. This is atrocious. People on the right are pulling up that I did a campaign event with my dad last year, and they're saying, well, you supported them all last year and all this year. You look suspicious. No. You all have been calling me saying, why aren't you on the campaign trail with your dad? Why aren't you helping him out? This looks weird. You should go help him. And I've said to you calmly, I'm not getting involved. You don't know my family life. I did one event last year when we were told he was going to get ahead of his past and hold himself accountable. None of that happened. Everything's been a lie.
This is where I have the most amount of empathy for him because he really does express real pain right here. When this whole campaign for Herschel started and there was a promise that he was going to come clean with his past, that he was going to hold himself responsible, turn a new leaf, and this was going to be a real chance for him to start building a relationship with his father, only to now later have that hope dashed. I can understand that because I had an absent father. I never really knew my biological father. He knew where I was my entire life, but we never had a connection. I had a stepfather for a chunk of my life, but once my parents separated, it was like I never existed to him at all. So I understand this need to want to have that relationship, to want to have a connection, to want to make them proud. And I also understand how painful it is when you realize that's never going to happen.
So for me to tell you I'm not getting involved, and then you also be flooding my DMs and calling me saying, I didn't know all this about your dad, we're going to lose the Senate race. And then when I simply say, I'm done with the lies, you go, well, Christian looks suspicious. Excuse me? I haven't told one story about what I experienced with him. I'm just simply saying, don't lie. And then for certain political pundits to be pulling up old pictures I posted of my dad, thinking they can police and determine what my relationship with my dad was. If you want to pull stuff up, I'll pull stuff up. Don't try me. Don't test my authenticity.
Interesting choice of word right there, authenticity. You see, the reason why, again, that I actually have some empathy for him in this video is, unlike his other videos, he actually does come across as authentic in this video, which actually, to me, makes what he does even worse. Because in his other videos, he's flaring it up for the camera. He's being mean. He's being hurtful. And that's a conscious choice that he's doing. And another thing that I've noticed in this video is he says a lot of I's. I this, I that. It's all about him. Which is a very selfish perspective, which is fine for this video because, you know, he's venting his pain, whatever. The problem is when it carries over into those videos because he's willing to hurt others if it means it benefits him. That selfish attitude in the real world does so much harm to the person and the person around them. The relationships extremely selfish people tend to have are very shallow, because it's hard to develop an intimacy with someone when it always has to be about them. And nothing he said in this video was about how his father hurt other people. He doesn't seem concerned with the fact that his father is doing that or his father has the potential to get into a position where he'd be making laws that would harm millions. He's not concerned with that. He's just concerned with how this has been affecting him.
All of this has been a lie and you've known it. You've known, so don't you dare. And then to the left who says, well, he did all this to your mom and you were still with them and, you know, that's weird. You know nothing about my life. My parents went through a dirty divorce. I went through a lot as a child, and you don't know anything. You don't know the ebbs and flows of our relationship. Nobody knows anything. So for everyone making these wild theories and whatever, that's crazy. This is about a bunch of lies.
Nobody on the left, like people who are actually progressive leftists, were criticizing him for the fact that he was participating with his father's campaign or showing him support. Nobody on the left cared about that. We criticize him and think he's a horrible person because of all the other things he does.
Again, if I had an issue with whatever, I could have ended this day. Well, that's not my intention. My intention is don't lie about your life at the expense of me, my mom, and all of the people that you've affected throughout your life. You don't get to pretend you're some moral family guy. You don't get to pretend all these things. Talk policy, talk normal. Do not lie.
He didn't quite pick up on the irony that he was just laying out there, because he's calling his father out for pretending to be something he's not, and how that harms other people. Yet, that is exactly what he's been doing in his videos. After this video, the Republicans were quick to turn their backs on Christian while still supporting his father. Surprise! Even outright admitting they don't care what Herschel's done that goes against their so-called values, because all they really care about is getting more power. The Republicans say Christian was supportive of his dad, and now he's turned into an Antifa operative. They play this clip on repeat as proof he once supported his dad. This is the only clip of Herschel acknowledging his son in the slightest, and it kind of makes you wonder if this is the only one available to them. Conservatives have a hard time with nuance, so I'll spell it out. Complex, often confusing dynamics exist in domestic abusive relationships. It's possible to love your abuser. My stepfather, not a good person, but I still loved him. Some children internalize it, believing that if they just be the child the parent wants, they can make the abuse stop. They believe they deserve it because they aren't good enough, but they still desperately want the approval of that parent and will do anything to impress them. What I see in this image is a young man seeking approval from his father. A person who has burned bridges, lashed out at queer folks, and denies his sexuality to prove to his father he's worth loving. He's done everything that's been asked of him, even going further than needed in hopes of having a relationship with him. He so desperately wants this because how can he expect any other man to love him if his own father won't? This is a feeling I struggle with to this day. I have no monetary incentive to talk about traumas from my past or my mental health. I do it because I feel it's important to remove the stigma surrounding them. I do it because I know at least one person will see this video and realize they're not alone when it comes to feelings like this. Christian, on the other hand, was encouraged to put his traumas on display for money and pressured by the Republicans to stand with his father and target the groups of people they're from so that they could be one of the good ones. Again, he says he doesn't identify as being gay, and I'm not someone to tell other people how they should identify. Also, he can't identify as gay and still have hope of being approved by the group of people he's chosen to be a part of and his dad. The Republicans don't want them to get better because they would no longer be of use to them. They want Christian to keep ignorantly attacking the left because they know if he looked into it and explored what the progressive left is really about, he'd find a community willing to accept him for who he is. No matter what Christian did for his father, he wasn't getting the results he wanted. All of the attacks on the queer community, his dismissive attitude towards the people he alienated, the pandering and insulting was for nothing. Unfortunately, I don't think he'll change his behavior because of this. That requires a certain level of introspection and self-awareness. If anything, he'll lash out even more because it's his father getting the attention and support, not him. And you know what? I'd be fine being wrong. If after all of this has settled down for him, he takes a moment to look inward and changes his behavior, great. But so long as he continues to harm others, I don't feel sorry for him. He sold out and got a void check as payment. Okay, so what am I trying to say? What is the main message that I'm trying to get out? It is, well, trauma will change you, but it will never define who you are. There's no getting around it. Trauma changes people. but nothing can take away the power you have to define who you become. Healing will be an ongoing process as people heal in different ways. Some people will try to pressure you to become someone who benefits them, but in the end, it's your life to live. Christian chose a path of trying to get rid of his pain by hurting others. I chose a path of doing what I can so that other people don't have the same experiences as me, to hopefully shorten the time it takes for them to get to a better place. Only you get to choose the path you take, no one else. Don't forget to hit buttons and leave comments. Please, if you can, become a patron to support my channel or purchase something off my wish list to help build my studio. Links are in the description box below. A special thanks to those of you who already have. Salut, à la prochaine. Thank you for watching and stay tuned. I'm Sandy, wishing your tomorrow is better than your today.